The January 6th terrorist attack on the U.S. Capitol included several Latino members of the white supremacist group Proud Boys and their chairman, Cuban-American Enrique Tarrio, just as the white supremacist violence in Charlottesville back in 2017 also included Latino attackers. An important challenge for racial justice that we face in our society today that frequently gets overlooked is the anti-Black bias that exists in communities themselves considered ethnic and racial minorities. Indeed, the conundrum of how anti-Black violence can still be so pervasive decades after the advancements and achievements of the civil rights movement cannot be readily understood nor addressed with the traditional sole focus on white Anglo individuals. In the language of the U.S. Census Bureau, non-Hispanic whites are presently only about 57.8% of the population and declining in numbers. This means that the ongoing upkeep and silent acceptance of anti-Blackness implicates many other racial and ethnic groups. Exploring Latino complicity in anti-Blackness is particularly helpful. As a multi-hued ethnic group, Latinos are often viewed as free of racism, or at the very least, its most exclusionary forms. Examining how anti-Blackness still does manage to manifest itself amongst the racially mixed rainbow of Latinos is a powerful illustration of how people of color themselves can fortify racism. The January 6th terrorist attack on the U.S. Capitol included several Latino members of the white supremacist group Proud Boys and their chairman, Cuban-American Enrique Tarrio, just as the white supremacist violence in Charlottesville back in 2017 also included Latino attackers. The Southern Poverty Law Center has noticed that there is an increasing trend of more Latinos joining white supremacist hate groups. And yet, Latino white supremacists are not the only problem. Anti-Blackness is also manifested in Latino communities against Afro-Latinos, African Americans, and other people of African descent in a myriad of contexts, such as the rental and purchase of homes, educational settings, the workplace, public spaces of leisure, and the criminal justice system. Examining Latino agency in anti-Blackness helps us better understand the complexities of racism and what is needed to be more effective in an increasingly racially diverse world. Excavating the otherwise silenced voices of the Afro-Latino and African American victims of Latino anti-Blackness from the case files of discrimination charges is an important endeavor. When we examine, for example, how discrimination claims of Latino anti-Blackness arise, two central patterns become evident. First, Latino anti-Blackness is more prevalent and serious in its consequences than many commentators in politics and the media care to admit. Second, the ability to identify and address Latino anti-Blackness is hampered by the notion that Latinos cannot be prejudiced or racist simply by virtue of being Latino. For example, when an African American man wanted to rent an apartment in the suburban community of Smithtown, New York, it was a Latino homeowner who refused to consider his application. This Latino landlord instead chose to wait 3 more months for a non-Black applicant to surface. Yet a jury was persuaded that no racial discrimination had occurred, due to the fact that the owner was a Brazilian American who denied harboring racial bias because she was of mixed race heritage and numerous of her Brazilian relatives had Black and Indian ancestry. This Latinos can't be prejudiced defense to racism is something that needs to be called out and removed from the legal enforcement of anti-discrimination laws. Afro-Latinos and African Americans suffer from acts of discrimination at the hands of Latinos who claim that their racially mixed culture immunizes them from being racist. In turn, The public ignorance about Latino anti-Blackness undermines our ability to fully address the interwoven complexities of U.S. racism in developing public policies and enforcing anti-discrimination law. Judges and juries can be taught to desist from being distracted by the "I can't be racist, I'm Latino" defense to accusations of discrimination. Dismantling racism in the United States requires that every component of its structures be taken apart, even the ones articulated in Spanish.